Think about the last time you felt afraid to do something, not physically afraid, but that quiet, internal resistance, the hesitation before sending a message, the overthinking before starting something new, the sudden urge to delay, distract, or disappear. It doesn't feel like fear. It feels like logic, like maybe this isn't the right time. I need to prepare more. What if this goes wrong? But if you look closely, most of it isn't logic. It's fear, wearing a rational voice. And the problem isn't that fear exists. The problem is how quickly you believe it. Because somewhere along the way, you learn that fear means stop, that discomfort is a warning, that hesitation is a signal to retreat. But what if that interpretation is wrong? What if fear isn't telling you to stop, but to pay attention? Because fear, at its core, is just data. It's your mind trying to predict outcomes, trying to protect you from failure, rejection, embarrassment. But here's the flaw. Your mind is biased towards safety, not growth. It overestimates risk. It exaggerates consequences. It assumes the worst case scenario is the most likely one. So when you feel fear, you're not seeing reality. You're seeing a distorted prediction. And if you treat that prediction as truth, you start building your life around avoidance. You don't apply, you don't speak, you don't start. Not because you can't, but because you've mistaken fear for fact. Now, here's the shift. Instead of asking, how do I get rid of this fear? Ask, what is this fear trying to tell me? Because sometimes fear is pointing at something important, something unfamiliar, something uncertain, something that actually matters. Let's say you're afraid to share your work. On the surface, it feels like, what if people judge me? But underneath that is meaning. Because if it didn't matter, you wouldn't be afraid. Fear often highlights the exact areas where growth is possible, not guaranteed, but possible. And that changes the role of fear completely. It stops being a barrier and starts becoming a signal, not don't go there, but this might matter. So the goal isn't to eliminate fear, that's impossible. The goal is to stop obeying it blindly, to pause, to question it, to separate real risk from imagined consequences. Because yes, some fears are valid, but most are exaggerated stories your mind has repeated so often they feel real. And the only way to break that pattern is through action. Small, deliberate, uncomfortable action. Because every time you face something you were afraid of and survive it, you update the data. You teach your mind this is uncomfortable, but not dangerous. And slowly, fear loses its authority. Not all at once, but enough for you to move. Today, I want you to identify one thing you've been avoiding because of fear. Be honest. Don't pick something easy. Pick something that creates resistance. Now break it down into the smallest possible step. If you're afraid to start something, open the document. If you're afraid to reach out, write the message, even if you don't send it immediately. If you're afraid to be seen, share something small, and then do it. Not to eliminate fear, but to challenge its authority. Because courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the decision that fear doesn't get the final say. Next episode, we're going to talk about something far less dramatic, but far more important, the kind of work that feels boring, repetitive, and invisible, and why that's exactly where real transformation happens.